So that
Yeah.
is what is, the way that you look at your strategy options and how your brands are going to be nestled against each other and how they're going to give you that final 1,000 crores or 2,000 crores or whatever budgets you have set out for them. So I think that's a very interesting, example that Harpreet has given. So yeah, like I talked about, how do you increase sales or market share? I think we talk about market development versus penetration, and then you increase your profitability. I think in the beginning I spoke about how your, how you manage to balance out your marketing costs. What are the kind of money you want to? What is the cost of sales going to look like? Are you spending 10 rupees for a sales of 8 rupees, or are you spending 15 rupees for a sales of 25 rupees? Right. So that kind of reduce cost. How do you reduce? So when you want to increase profitability, you have the chance. You have options of increasing your market share and growth, or and also reducing your cost, so that the difference between the two is where the money is lies. So that contribution equation is very, very important for marketers to understand as to which are the brands which are giving the contribution. And I think as marketers, every bucket of brands has their contribution margin very clearly outlined for the marketers, and therefore they can play around with the product portfolio and the markets and the consumer. So the matrix becomes a very, very, it's like a Rubik's cube. It's a three-dimensional matrix which is there for the marketer to play around, and each cube is an opportunity for the marketer. So of course, your segmenting, targeting, and positioning is, I think, very, very important. And how do you choose your market segments, and what is it that, how do you position your product, and how do you create that USP for your particular product, is one of the key reasons where you have very, very strong brands which are always on the top of the mind recall. So as a faculty of brand, and I'm teaching brand right now, when I ask any of my, I have a class of 60 students, I ask them to give me the top 5 brands: Apple and Samsung, Google and Amazon. These are the 4 brands which are always there in every student's list. So for some reason they have captured the imagination, and I ask them to tell me what's the marketing mix of Google, and they get stuck over there, because different defining pricing and distribution is very, very different for Google. But yet it is playing on their minds. And you look at the Google strategy and you look at the product portfolio of Google. It's a service which is there, and it's a $300 billion brand today. It has dislodged Coca-Cola, which was leading the brand for the last 20 years. It was the highest at $80 billion. And when Apple came in at 120, Coke at the peak had never breached the $100 billion mark. And yet you have Apple and Google and Amazon all playing in the 300 plus billion category now. So therefore that, when you look at your competitor target, your pricing strategy becomes very, very important. Where is it that you're pitching? You are looking at value for money. You're looking at very high-end niche designer products, or you're looking at luxury pricing. Like I think there was a quote by Steve Jobs saying that whether you're wearing a $3 watch or a $3,000 watch, the time is the same. But yet you have a luxury market which is really booming, where you have a Louis Vuitton selling for 5 lakhs, you have a Hermes bag which is for 8 lakhs. You can buy a car in that amount, and yet you have a customer base which is hankering for that kind of. Then New Buttons, it's a shoe company which is selling shoes for 3.5 lakhs. So there are customers which are there waiting for that kind of kick to, look at luxury pricing. But here the most important aspect is, when you look at the non-price aspect, is the brand that is there. So, when you look at the pricing strategy, one thing which really comes to my mind is very easily copyable. So today, a Maruti launches a 800 at 4 lakhs or 2.5 lakhs. There'll be a Renault Kwid and a Duster or any other company which can match the price, which can match your features, which can match everything. But capturing something like India Comes Home in a Maruti is very difficult for companies to actually capture, which is what is the soul of the brand essence, so to say. So here the brand plays a very, very important role in terms of how you build that particular brand. So therefore, most of the times you'll find that a very smart marketing strategy has a very strong element of the non-price aspects of it, where you are actually looking at what the augmented and the potential product is all about. Because the expected product is all about your features and everything else that is in that everybody else is get. So what we call as the points of parity and the points of differentiation. And the point of differentiation is where the actual challenge lies, as to how clearly you're going to differentiate from the other brands. And that, which is why when you look at it, Apple, despite being a luxury price product, has been able to create a very, very strong brand in the high-end market segment. And they don't bother with what is happening in the other market segments, as opposed to what Samsung does, where they play in each price category. And at some point of time, they actually take on Apple also in terms of the pricing of their particular products in the Galaxies and the S2s and the S3s. So therefore, you find that the selection of competitor targets in terms of the sheer pricing of it, where is it that you're pitching for, becomes very, very important. You know, the latest example, if you look at Tata's, they had a Tata Click, and now they have something called a Zudio, which is now very, very, common and becoming very big in Pune, and they've launched in Western region, which is where they are strong in, where they're actually giving the youngsters a very, very interesting bouquet of offerings. And the Zudio is really, capturing the consumer's imagination because they are all over Insta. So therefore, you find that how the marketer actually looks at what the competition is and how you're going to actually manage that competition basis. What are the ammunition in your own brand portfolio becomes very, very important, right, Harpreet? Would you like to add to this? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have very well summarized, Professor Ranjita, that pricing strategy, whether you want to position yourself, if you are a Me Too product, then how are you going to price yourself? If you want to position yourself as a luxury brand, then price is not something which is a talk, which is a USP. Then your USP is what is the emotional or the aspirational value your product is providing to the consumer. So the pricing strategy, it is all dependent on how you want to position your product vis-a-vis the competition. And the non-price strategy, like you rightly said, it is about, again, it is related to what is the USP of the product, what is the USP of the brand, how the brand is positioned, what are the non-price benefits which you want to highlight out of the brand, what are the USPs? So for example, Mercedes as an example versus Maruti as an example, right? Maruti is all about the pricing strategy because Maruti is a brand for the masses. Whereas Mercedes is something which does not play on the pricing strategy. We rarely see ads of Mercedes. We rarely see ads of Lamborghini because these are cars which now exclusivity is another thing. Exclusivity is something which they want to very consciously want to maintain or very consciously want to highlight. And that is the reason we don't see ads of these companies because they are not playing on the pricing strategy. They're not playing on the mass strategy. So very rightly put, the pricing and the non-pricing strategy is actually dependent on where you want to position your brand.
Right. So I think that's more or less sums up what we wanted to say. Harpreet, would you like to, take it forward from here?
Sure. So you rightly captured everything. Let me, I'll request you to stop sharing the screen and I'll share my screen. I have tried to capture this entire thing in an Excel sheet, the entire broader framework. I have put the numbers broadly, but I have not put the numbers down the line. Down the line, I'm going to talk about only the broader framework which we use, since the topic is how do we convert a marketing strategy from a business strategy perspective, right? So this is an example which I have taken. And let us say your business goal, the brand name is Brand Orange. Business goal is that year on year. So year one, you want, so this is the base year, for example, current sales in crores is 1,000 crores. And growth percentage of the business goal, which is an ask from the marketeer, is 20% first year, second year 15%, year 3 is 18%. So the base year, if you are sitting at 1,000 CR, year one is, it's a simple formula which I have put. So 20% growth, it's 1,200. Year two is 1,380 on 1,200, which is a 15% growth on 1,200. And year three is 1,628, which is 18% on 1,380. I've just put some fictitious number because my audience should understand what we are trying to say here. Okay, so this is the current, this is your business goal, which is 20%, 15%, and 18% growth. And this is, I'm giving this example, vacation. I have gone through this multiple times in our board discussions. This is how it is laid out in front of us. So current portfolio is that you have to do 1,000 CR. That is also not an easy task. And incremental, we want to have a delta of 200 CR. Okay. So the business strategy is, now what is a business strategy? It could be you want to increase market share, you want to increase profitability, you want to increase penetration, you want to increase number of markets, you want to develop new products, you want to increase adoption. It could be so on and so forth. What could be the marketing strategy? Marketing strategy, like I rightly said, is play of 4 Ps. And now there are 7 Ps we were just discussing before this call, but I have kept it 3 Ps to make it simpler. It is product, promotion, pricing, and the fourth one is placement. We can talk all the 4 Ps actually. So basis on this, what is the broader strategy which as a marketeer I am supposed to work on? That what is my marketing strategy to achieve this 1000 CR? If 1000 CR is there in base year, without doing anything, I'm not going to get this 1000 CR. So some work has to be done in this base number also. And then what is the incremental number I'm looking at? Incremental number I'm looking at is 200. So how is it that 200 I'm going to gun for? So broad strategy is how it's split into two, what is existing and what is the incremental. Now, existing can be divided into further. So let me go to the existing bucket. Existing could be, what are your plans for existing categories? So rather than going here, I have split another sheet. Let me go this one. So it is product, promotion, and placement. So let us look at product. So product one is NPD, which is new product development, and the other one is existing. Now in NPD, what are the questions which we are supposed to answer? Which new category or which new products? Is it an existing category which we want to develop? Or is it a new category which we want to develop? That is question one, broader. If it is a new category, then in that new category, what are the SKUs or what are the different products which we want to develop? If these are the 10 products which I have shortlisted, what is the volume which I am looking at? What is the target pricing which I am going to look at? Then I look at the competition which is there in the market. I'll take an example of knives only, right? So for example, in knives, I'm saying that I'm going to develop a basic knife. Are there any competition in the competitors in the market who have this basic knife? If yes, what is the price point? If yes, what are the features of the basic knife? If I manufacture these in-house, and that's another call, whether we manufacture it in-house or whether we outsource. If we manufacture it in-house, what is the pricing which I am going to give this product at? What is the volume which I'm going to look at? First year, obviously, if the market is, let us say, 10 crores per month, I'm not going to get a market share of 100%, right? It will start with 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. So what is the market share which I'm going to look at in first year? What is the value which I'm going to extract out of this? So let us say 1% market share. Per piece, my price is 50 rupees. I am going to manufacture, let us say, 50,000 pieces. So what is the value which I am going to bring? Because this value is going to feed into that 200 CR, which I am going to do incremental, right? Then what is the development time which is going to go into this? If this year is what I'm looking at, that I need these 200 CR. So this year, if I plan for this manufacturing, this product, if the product cycle manufacturing time is going to be, let us say, 1 year, then obviously these numbers are not going to stitch into my 200 CR for this year. This is something which is going to seed in for the next year. So then what is the backup plan which I have in market, in my mind? Then when will the launch be? Like I said, that what are the timeline for that? Which markets am I looking at? Is it that I'm going to go for pan-India launch, or is it that I'm going to just look at some zones? How many distributors are going to take my product initially? So for example, my carton size, I'm giving very practical examples. This is how we do it when we devise any strategy in Kangaroo for any brand. So if my carton size is going to have, let us say, 480 pieces of knives, right? And one particular carton is going to cost, let us say, 10,000 rupees. How many of my existing distributors have the might to buy 10,000 worth of goods at one go? What is the market credit which they are they, or do they have the capability to buy that much at one go? So that is another thing which I have to look at, which defines my placement strategy. That even if I am able to launch this, but what is the propensity that those 1,000 distributors are going to place this product, because the cost is such. So that factor comes into play. Then what is my target segment? These are all initial questions when we sit on the drawing board to understand when we are going to launch this. Who is my target audience, which I'm going to address this product to? Okay, so this is on the NPD bit. From the existing bit, it could be product bundling. Which products you want to bundle? So let us say you have 41 SKUs. Do you want to do some combos? Can you give some price offs? So when I say combos, so when we do the category analysis, So for example, let us say my basic knife and basic peeler is not doing well. So is it that if I club both of them and give a 20% off, will that help in picking up the product? Is a particular region. So we do a region-wise analysis. So there are so many states. So let us say a particular region, North zone is not doing well. Basic knife in North zone is not doing well. Is it that my competition is running some schemes which is helping competition do well, whereas I am not running those kind of schemes? So is it that I need to work on schemes? Could be that my brand awareness is very good or the brand connect is very good with my consumer. So are they doing something on the communication strategy, which I'm not doing? So that could define my communication thing. Then on the product side, it could be whether I'm working on share expansion. So this is like physical stock taking, which we do, whether we are present in all the shops where my category is selling, whether the entire portfolio is present or not. So let us say if my knife is present on 10,000 shops and all the 41 SKUs are present there or not. Maybe only top 100 outlets are selling the entire portfolio. Maybe other shops have not picked that up. So what is the reason for that? Is the pricing too high? Are the margins too low? Is the competition really doing well? Is the consumer not warming up to my product? Maybe the sellout is not happening. What is that? What are the different problem areas which we need to analyze? Basis that will define my existing product strategy, right? So this is on the product side. On the promotion side, broader strategy could be marketing mix. It could be communication message. It could be content strategy. It could be who are my target audience. So these are the broader aspects which we need to look at when we define the promotion strategy. Now, what could be the granular level details? It could be that you plan for campaigns. Now, how many campaigns you want to run? How many drives you want to do? What is going to the message of each campaign? How is it that going to resonate back to the brand? Which is the agency which you want to focus on? Who is going to write the content? What is the content calendar going to look like? Is it only informative posts? Is it going to be engagement kind of post, like contest you want to run? Is it going to be product awareness kind of post? What is that campaign which you want to run? And what is the content for that campaign? And then you talk about the mix of channels. So marketing mix, like we said, are we going to go social? Are we going to run ads on Google? Are we going to do mass media campaigns? Do we want to do out of home campaigns? Are we going to do billboards? Are we going to do bus shelters? Are we going to do OTT platforms? What is that which we are planning to do in terms of promotion to reach my target audience, right? Basis this, we decide what is the budget. Rather, first we have the budget in hand. So that is another thing. So when this is the number which I am planning to do, on this number, there is an X percentage which is available to me, right? So let us say I have 1% of this which is available to me. So that budget, how am I going to deploy across all these activities? We are going to do some research. So for example, this particular bit, the NPD bit, it's also going to require an agency who is going to do that market research for me, because it's new product development. So that 1% is also going to be split about product development. It is going to split about promotion. It is also going to split about placement. I'm going to talk about that. But this entire budget allocation will come from there. So that 1%, how am I going to split on product? How am I going to split on promotion? How am I going to split on placement? So after you have the budget allocation, then you do the mix of channels, what you want to do. And obviously you will have to hire an agency who will do all these things for you. And once you have decided this, then you calendarize. So then you prepare a Gantt chart that I am going to run this campaign from this time to this time. This is going to be the ROI, or this is going to be the KPI. Now, what could be the KPIs? KPIs could be net promoter scores. It could be brand awareness. Brand awareness could be in terms of top of mind awareness. It could be unaided awareness. It could be aided awareness. It could be how many people are willing to refer you as a brand to their peer network. It could be number of likes. It could be number of followers. It could be shares. It could be willingness to search. It could be so many metrics which you could define as a marketeer, that this is how I'm going to track, or this is how I'm going to see where my brand is moving, because I have a goal to drive, which is my revenue goal. And then you have the placement. So product aapne bana liya, pricing you have assigned to, promotion you have done, but none of this is going to work if the placement is not going to be there. Because ultimately it is through placement you are you are ensuring that your product reaches the consumer when he walks the last mile. So in terms of placement, again, you have the two broader strategies, which is existing network and there is new infrastructure. So with the existing network, it could be how do you work on product visibility? How many, so let's say if you are present on 10,000 retail outlets, in these 10,000 retail outlets, are you going to give stands? Are you going to give catalogs? Are you going to give brochures? Are you going to put danglers? Are you going to put bunting banners? Are you going to have some festive gates? Are you going to have in-shop branding, out-shop branding? Are you going to do some canopy drives? Are you going to do some road shows? Are you going to do some demos to drive placement? So again, for all these activities, these are all in itself a project. So you granularize up to that extent who is responsible, who is the lead for what is the timeline? Is it going to be in-house or are we hiring an agency? What is the budget which we are planning to spend? What is the ROI of each of these activities? So for example, you do a road show or you do a mobile van campaign, right? So you go through I remember we did a mobile van campaign in Nasik area. We have a tool which is called a Agri tool. It is used by the farmers for vertical farming. So we ran that campaign through that entire area. So how many leads you have generated? As marketeers, it is very important with all of the activities which we do, especially in the promotion bit, how many leads you have generated. So it could be through exhibition and road shows and canopy drives and dealer meets and mobile campaigns. How many such leads have you generated, which could be qualified and given to the sales team for that extra revenue generation, because we have a goal sitting on our head, which is 200 CR, right? And then, what is that in terms of schemes you are going to give? So let us say it could be a quarterly purchase scheme. It could be a quantity purchase scheme. It could be a turnover discount that if you buy this much amount, I'm going to give you this much X percentage. You could do sampling drives to develop a new market. So for example, I know that my adoption in a particular area, in a particular geography is very low. You could do sampling, you could do RWA activities, you could do mall activities to drive that awareness and adoption. So all of this, ultimately, you monitor the market share, you monitor the numeric distribution. So if there are 10,000 outlets, in how many outlets you are present. So that is numeric distribution. You do the value weighted distribution. The outlets which are contributing 80% to the market, in those outlets, whether you are present or not, which means you are present in the prominent outlets or not. So there are agencies who do all this for you, these studies for you. So you could, Nielsen is one. So you could get that data from there to see whether your brand is moving in the right direction or not. And then you analyze the internal primary data, the primary billing data, the secondary billing data to see the health of existing distributors. Are they billing month on month? Are they billing all the SKUs? If they are not billing, what is the issue with them? Is it that they find that your business is too small, the category is too small, or do they find that the competition is giving them more schemes, the competition is giving them more margins? So all of these granular level of details, which I have just spoken about, these are all some things which go into a broader level strategy, which go on in defining the broader business goal.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harpreet. I think you've described it threadbare. And I would also just like to add one more point that a marketing strategy cannot be very away from your sales strategy. So both the marketing strategy and the sales strategy have to come together to be able to achieve the overall business strategy objectives. And marketing strategy planning is the best time where one can nicely look at the sales strategy, the sales channels that one is going to leverage, and how marketing and sales are going to collaborate for generating enough demand and traction in the system, either by way of leads or by way of awareness, that the sales team can ultimately leverage and convert into business. So
right.
we have seen in our previous organizations that at times there's a friction between sales and marketing teams when it comes to achieving business goals. And I think this kind of a detailed, meticulous planning can set those expectations, very clearly. In fact, in one of my organizations, I remember the CEO actually, explicitly asked all the functional leaders to set out their expectations from other functions in an open forum, so that there's complete clarity Whatever each function could have taken up as feedback or as suggestion from other functions to deploy in their respective functional strategies, it happened there. So there were nobody had a reason to crib later that, okay, this is something that these people should be doing, because everything has been discussed upfront. A consensus has been reached that what is doable and what needs to be focused on, with the ultimate objective of all functions completely getting focused towards delivering the business goals. So even if you're saying no to a certain initiative that some other function leader is proposing, the reason for that, he knows the reason for that, right? So it's very important that that various functions come together, while marketing and sales have the primary responsibility to drive growth, awareness, and revenues. There are other functions like, say, R&D or IT, even customer service, right, which play their own role in terms of ensuring that whatever you plan out, whether it is achieved completely with the objectives that you had set out for. So it's the overall business has to get mobilized, with, of course, marketing and sales streams putting their act together.
I think, Vikesh, that's a very important point. So, for example, the placement strategy, right, which is entire distribution. So, distribution is something which is infrastructure, which is completely sales domain. But there also, because the marketing and sales have to function very closely. Similarly, when we do the lead generation, although the onus is on marketing, but we pass those qualified leads to sales to take it to the next level. And another thing which I would want to lay stress on. So when we have a broader strategy and the marketing strategy, you split the marketing strategy also into buckets, like I was talking about here. That's product, its promotion and placement. Even within these buckets, you further bucketize. So for example, you split the entire strategy into buckets. It could be dealer meets, exhibitions, events, branding drives. It could be ATL OOH campaigns. It could be channel marketing campaigns. It could be communication, how you are going to do it. It could be lead generation activity. So for example, lead generation activity could be a bucket within which it could be events, it could be exhibitions, it could be dealer meets, it could be mobile van campaigns, it could be RWA activities. It could be, so these are broader. So it's essentially like a pyramid. So you start from the business, then you start from marketing, then entire thing you split into 4, and you keep splitting till the last stitch has been stitched. It's basically till the last mile has been covered. So you keep splitting till you have all the answers and the entire framework ready with you on black and white as a execution plan, I would say.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of such a detailed granular framework is that you are able to see upfront the impact of each initiative, in terms of the investment that it requires and the outcomes that it generates upfront. So the business leaders have very clear visibility in terms of the direction that they want to take, and programs that they want to invest in. They can clearly see that if this is how our marketing investments are going to appear like, then does it make sense for me to invest more in a certain area where I'm seeing faster traction and acceleration, vis-a-vis some other area where probably the gestation period is too long, or perhaps I'm not getting the kind of returns that I want, right? So according to the business's objectives, whether I'm running for short-term quick growth, whether I'm driven by a customer acquisition strategy, or I'm looking at driving both customer acquisition as well as profits, one can appropriately choose the mix of marketing strategy that works best for him.
And not only that, I think it very clearly spells out if there are any pitfalls which can be foreseen. Like you said, that all of the people, when they sit and brainstorm, very clearly, like you said, sales and then R&D. If it's a new product development, then you have R&D. Then there is finance who's going to sanction the budget. Then there is a business leader who's going to look at the entire role. If it's an IT based product, then the IT also chips in. If it's a consumer insight, then consumer insight team pitches in. So the entire plan, when it is laid out, every department knows what are their roles and responsibilities, and if there are pitfalls, then that can also be tabled at the planning stage itself.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Professor Gupta, you want to add something here?
I think I just think we just summed it up very brilliantly, and kind of captured what we have been talking about, and it's very heartening that what we've been talking in the classes is actually happening in the industry. So that's something which is a big takeaway for me, and I think it's been very insightful and very helpful for me as a faculty. Thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent. Great. So I think we've actually exceeded the time also. So
Yeah.
to wrap it up, I would like to thank you once again, Professor Gupta, for the brilliant, examples that you gave, linking them with the conceptual frameworks and, theoretical concepts. And thank you to you also, Harpreet, for, playing a different role this time. I'm pretty sure that, this is going to be an episode that is going to be liked by different marketers at different levels, like I said. But I think more particularly, both marketing leaders and business leaders are going to find this of tremendous value, especially startup founders, people who are building their own businesses, and marketing students as well. So thank you once again. I think we can now, close the recording, Harpreet.
Sure. Just one last comment while you were saying that, it just struck
Sure.
me, and I would like to mention
Sure.
that any kind of strategy, whether you want it to function, there is always an underlying problem statement. So before you decide what you want to do, whether it is product promotion, placement, where is that you want to venture, you understand first the underlying problem. Because if the underlying problem is consumer awareness, then you know that you need to work on communication. If the underlying problem is that adoption is not happening because of pricing, then you need to work on the pricing strategy. If the underlying problem is that your product quality is not good, so then you need to do your homework and get the quality right. All starts with your business strategy should start with first underlining and understanding what that problem is.
Very well put, Harpreet. Very, very true. I think it's very important to understand the problems that we are going to find solutions for in the very beginning. So thank you so much once again.
Sure.
Great.
Thank you so much. It was great conversing with both of you. Thank you, Vikesh, for hosting both of us tonight.
My pleasure.
And
thank you so much.
Thanks, Professor Ranjita, for taking our time out.
Pleasure, completely. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you for watching part 2 of episode 5, which is deriving marketing strategy from business strategy. In this particular part, we looked at a detailed Excel-based framework and model wherein business number is broken into or translated into a broader marketing bucket, and the marketing bucket is divided into product placement, promotion, and each of them is further divided into tactical bits, and tactical goals and calendars and activities. Um, the framework also talks about why different functions in an organization should come together for successful delivery of business goals and marketing strategies, and what is the importance of ROI and how can you broadly budget around these activities. I have also mentioned part 1 of the episode in the copy. In case you like the content, please like, share, and comment for wider reach of the audience. Thank you.